entries. That's a record for us. So that's over 4,600 individuals that'll be out there running on the track, 106 different colleges and 447 different high schools. So if you just take all that, that's a lot of people, right? Stuff. So, and then add on to that, the relay entries were at almost 1,000 this year and stuff. So great things happening. New surface of the track is done. The Ostness family gave us a great brand new video board out there. Let me see, the RCB Bank, again, another great sponsor for us and doing everything there. But I think just the environment that the Kansas Relays brings, not just for Lawrence or Kansas, but for the whole state. It's really, it's that time of year where you can, this could be the state championship or national championship for some of those athletes, and they're good. The stakes to get in are highest they've ever been. And talking to this guy, he was there during high school, college, and as a coach and stuff, so he has a lot of experience with that. But just the overall atmosphere has been nothing but exciting out there with everything that's we've done. A brand new, actually got a brand new another discus cage and stuff out there. So Coach Reynolds he can throw anywhere with the wind now and stuff. So it's pretty exciting.
Coach, how do you feel about where your athletes are at this point in the outdoor season, and what can this do for them to propel them forward into the rest of it?
Well, my athletes personally, I feel are very ready. It's their first home meet, and we don't get to do that a whole lot here. In track and field, in basketball, you got 20 times to get it right, and we get the Kansas Relays. Okay, so we've got alumni coming, and they put a little pressure on me. But I don't think the athletes feel it. They're excited that mom and dad can come a little easier. They're excited to show off to the high school kids. So our athletes, I think in general, all of them are pretty much ready. It's a different setting though, because what happens is we go on the road and you have a routine. And now you come home and they sleep in their own beds, and you think that's better, but it sometimes they might be a little antsy or do some things out of character. So that's the one thing they need to look for is get home, get to bed, get ready, and show off a little bit for the home crowd.
And then Mason had such a strong indoor season. What's impressed you about her performance, especially so early in her career?
She's just unbelievable. She's one of those, she's kind of an athlete that everything you add to her, she gives back. Her mind's kind of new to what we do, and so everything we do with her, it's new and exciting, and she's not making a lot of mistakes yet, so she doesn't know what failure is. Okay, so I'm sure we're going to make some sometime, but the sky's the limit for that girl. She's not done. I mean, if you want to see something special, she's going to move into the next level of that event for sure. She's just got a good mind for it, and I don't think you can coach that.
This is kind of for both of you. The sport has changed a lot, and even in this meet I think for the high school kids, the focus is to win the Kansas Relays. And it's always for the collegiate athletes to win the Kansas Relays and get the watch. But it's changed now to where winning a meet is not as big as getting a time or a mark for qualifying for postseason. Has that changed what you think of the participation in the relays, and how does that change maybe the coaching?
Well, coaching, we don't want it to change. It's all about competition, and PRs is just the end result, and we're focused on the process. You know, as a coach, we don't want it to change. So that's the big thing, and it may change, but the message that we're giving to these young kids is not that. It's about competing. It's about stepping up and expanding your comfort zone in that situation. Now, PRs, you can celebrate that afterwards, but that's not what we're doing. We're still trying to teach kids to compete.
Yeah, and I think you see if there's any change from my part is that the competition is getting better and better and better and stronger. I mean, just for an example, on the boys 100 meter, it took a 10.72 to get in this year. That's fast, right? In high school, that's really trucking and stuff. So, and we're looking at over 14 in the boys pole vault. over 11 foot in the girls pole vault and stuff. I mean, there's just a lot of things that I think these kids are realizing that, you know, just qualifying for Kansas Relays is a big deal, but coming here and doing something special is even better, because they're gonna be on a platform that where they could go after a national record. Cantwell, the kid out of high school, Missouri, he came in for the 74-foot shot put PR. That's not a mistake. We looked at like, it's 20 feet better than everybody else and stuff. So we had national record set last year. We look forward to, being a host for that again this year.
And then just thinking of the venues, I don't know if they redid the pole vault runway, but what do the vaulters think about that west side runway over there? I know there's advantages and disadvantages.
Well, we've got our own crowd over there, so we've got our groupies that hang out over there, so it's good. It's good. When they redid the venue, I tell you what, with all the stuff that Kansas Athletic was doing, and they took the time to kick the track, it's unbelievable, and we have to have one of the best facilities in the country outdoors. It's just unbelievable. And you ought to see the faces when those high school kids get in there and get on the track. Their eyes get big, and you kind of remember when you were an athlete and what happens, okay? So, can't say enough about the venue. Like Tim said, they put a new disc. This is throws Mecca. There's only one other place in the country and I think that they're not, well, I shouldn't say that, but I think there's only one other place that can be measured against this one. It's going to be unbelievable. And if Cantwell's, I haven't looked at that entries, but if he's throwing the discus, he's going to throw that far too.
Yeah, I walk into Rock Chalk Park, I get out of my truck, and I just can't believe what we have out there. And he's right. Even where they host Olympic trials and things like that, our venue is set up better than that. Unfortunately, we don't have the 40,000, 60,000 seats they have, but our venue is set up just for track competition, which is great. There's no football field, there's nothing on the center or anything like a lot of kids see when they go to meets and stuff. So they come out there and all they see is that track facility, and that they're there. This will be the first high school to run on the new surface, so they're very excited.
You mentioned a couple of the cutoffs that you've had to make this year. How quickly do you realize you're going to have to start making those cutoffs, and how tough of a decision is that for you?
Yeah, one of the hardest things for a director is telling someone no, that they don't make it in. And I had a high school coach text me and say, hey, my kid ran 10-9, 11-11. He sent off all these times. And I said, Coach, the cutoff was 10-7-2. And he could have responded back like, well, I don't believe anything like that. He was like, wow, that's gonna be fun to watch, right? So instantly, every year it's gotten better and gotten faster and stuff. So we have a certain number, so 45. So we want to, we got 9 lanes we can run. We want to run 5 heats, sections of that also. So we know exactly how many we're going to accept right off the bat. So in every year, better, faster, throw farther, jump higher, everything. It's just, I think even in the boys high jump, it's 6'6" is the cutoff for the boys high jump, and it all goes all the way up to just over 7 foot and everything. So I mean, they're going to be jumping right up there with the collegiates and stuff. So it's pretty impressive. But yeah, it's tough when we have to make those cuts. I mean, if we didn't make any cuts, it'd be about a 1-week meet, right? and stuff. So I don't know if KU let me do that, but I would if they let me. But yeah, making cuts is probably the hardest part of a director's job.
Anything else for Coach?
Yeah, I got one more.
I got you.
After he was the national runner-up last year, what's the season been like for Clayton Sims?
We've had a little injury. Clayton has always had, since high school, he's had a foot problem, and then when you do too many repetitions on it, it gets pretty bad. So with his expectations, he thinks it's a very average season, okay? But what he did indoors at the conference meet was unbelievable. He didn't jump for 3 weeks. I would say physically he was not prepared, but mentally he was a pretty bad dude. He came up there and he won the conference meet, got him into the national meet, okay? And we didn't do as good in the national meet because his foot was hurting. but the kid's just mentally so tough. That's what we want him to be, is mentally tough. It doesn't matter what he jumps. If he shows up like that, I tell him after he did that, I told the whole team, I go, you guys understand what Clayton did. Clayton expanded his work capacity for success because he drawed upon something that was inside that you can't do. And as a coach, when you do that, man, you hit a home run. And it had nothing to do with me. It had to do with that young man. So I say he's not ready, but don't count the kid out. So, and he's want to show off for the alumni. So he'll be okay.
Yeah, that conference meet was kind of like the Michael Jordan flu game, right? You didn't know what the guy was going to do, and just speaking from standing next to Coach Hayes and filming all the time, it was amazing. It was just amazing what he did.
Anything else for Coach or Tim?